We'll go.
The last two jigs, we cut the ends of this thing, and we've got a pretty tight fit against the block of this thing, which is the next jig. And this jig holds the piece down. It's against its end blocks here, and it's going to be shoved against a rapidly spinning cutter. And the thing that makes this a jig is that underneath that cutter, I don't know if you can see it here, there's a spinning bearing.
Yep.
And the edge of this board that this thing is clamped to is going to ride against that bearing, and it'll make the cutter cut whatever the shape of the board is. So it's going to run this long curve down the back and should make this thing just the shape of the jig itself, and the jig itself should be just the right shape. So this thing will roll into that cutter with the cutter spinning this way in this case, and it should just take that material right off the back, leaving us with a nice smooth back, or that's the idea at least. So I'll fire it up and we'll see what happens, trying to keep my fingers out of the way. Dust collector. That's what we wanted. So that's cut the top of that, and that'll be its finished profile on the car. There'll be a little bit of sanding involved, but other than that, there isn't much work left to be done on that. And obviously the time in this whole project goes into making up the jig so that the thing is properly supported and clamps down and is ready to go.
And so you actually have a jig for lack of a better description, a left arch half, and also a different one for the right arch half, right?
Have to for this this cut, unfortunately. I say unfortunately because it's just another jig to make.
And then you've actually created this particular jig to actually be two jigs.
This one has two sides, and the second side cuts the inside of this, the inside profile of this, and it's the same thing. It goes in between the blocks. A difference is that I expect this to be a pretty tight fit, and it is. And this also has some little set screws here that I can use to adjust the position of this when I do the first one or two, to get it so that it just drops in and it's a nice tight fit, because it's going to cut the inside here, which is the last profile on this thing. And I'm thinking this ought to fit in here, but I don't know that that's going to happen without some adjusting of screws.
Okay. So I'm going to stop, and then we'll make those adjustments and then be back.
Yep.